Racing at home this weekend. Which home hero will it be who moves on to the Premier Class in a not too distant future? You're joining myself, Kiko Giles, live and trackside alongside my good friend, esteemed colleague and all-round sparring partner some of the time. And I mean good friend on that bit, Elliot York. He's chuckling away as we go green for a warm-up lap here. Race one of the Idemitsu Age of Talent Cup. We've seen cracking racing all the way through this season so far. We weren't on site in Malaysia, but we will be completing this season there in just about a month's time in the company of the Age of Talent Cup. But the first two rounds that we were commentating on, Buriram and LaSalle, absolute corkers. No reason for this one to be any different.
No, looking forward to this one. Ikegami's advantage in qualifying was quite a lot, 7/10 of a second, just above that, in fact. But we do see that often in the Age of Talent Cup. Qualifying is sort of completely different to the races. Once you get a bit of slipstream and get into that front group, Ikegami hasn't got a 7/10 of a second gap on everyone in race trim this weekend. There he is on the 14, but to get pole under his belt on home turf, the question is, as we mentioned at the top of the show, can anyone beat Ogiwara on the number 16? If Ikegami wants to win this title, which of course he does, he is going to have to beat Ogiwara at some point. Ogiwara has not put a foot wrong. There he is on the number 16. And can the likes of Bumproe Ayatollah, who are the next up in the championship, but also Matsuyama and Hidaka are going to be really hungry to claim victory on home turf. Just
before we do carry on with that, we took you through the first 4 rows of the grid. Shout out to Rintaro Tadaka, who is a wild card this weekend, the number 27 there, heading up the 5th row of the grid, ahead of Nopapung Bumproe, who has had a real honker of a weekend so far, down in the middle of that 5th row. And on the head of the 6th row, Panacharup Chips Wirral Chat from Thailand, 16th place on the grid, just ahead of Nguyen Hui Tri, the Vietnamese rider, and Kim Min Jae, the South Korean rider. A real flare of nationalities here in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup. Hopefully I haven't absolutely butchered their names.
Yeah, I think you nailed it there, mate. Don't you worry about that. Here they go then down into turn 11, a lot slower than they will be in around about 2 minutes time. It might all come down to turn 11, the last real overtaking opportunity on a circuit that has plenty of them. Turn 1 and 2, turn 3, turn 5, turn 9 as well, turn 10 is where Marc Marquez overtook a couple of people in the sprint, and then down into turn 11, the 90-degree corner. And who will be leading coming out of Victory Corner? Turn 14, will it be the number 14 of Ikegami? We're about to find out. 13 laps of Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup action coming your way. And it's 150 points out of 150 so far for Ogiwara, 120 out of 150 for Ikegami. Will that change this time around? We're about to find out.
Fast prediction, El.
Ikegami for the win.
I'll go your championship leader, Ogiwara, but I would like to be proven wrong. 6 wins in 2025. They've all gone to Ryota Ogiwara. Can Ikegami stem the flow and keep the title alive? We are a go in Motegi for race 1 here in the Asia Talent Cup. Bouncing down towards turn 1. Ikegami's going to grab the whole shot, and indeed he does. Into the lead he goes. Ogiwara's second, and I think that's Matsuyama, who is just held on to that P3 as they all jostle for position through turns 1 and 2. It's not Matsuyama in P3 at all. That looks like it could be. Badly Ayatollah coming through. Indeed it is. Ayatollah already trying to come through P3 up into P1. Well, that's what he's capable of. We know what exactly he can do. He has been aggressive, ultra aggressive in previous races gone by, and Badly Ayatollah has started rather well.
Yeah, fantastic start from the middle of the second row from the number 13. Got the job done into turn 3. Ikegami just holding off Ogiwara for now, and that's a good start also from Hidaka, holding station in P4. But what a start from the Indonesian. Go from P5 to P1 in a matter of 3 corners. Delightful for the Indonesian fans who are watching on home Grand Prix next weekend, of course. He's spoiling the home fan party so far this weekend on lap 1.
It is indeed Ayatollah, who leads a pack of Japanese riders. Archie Schmidt, good start from him as well, up from the 8th position on the grid. That's the 3rd row, up towards that P5 at the moment, the number 15, so keep an eye on him. Matsudaira has held on to 6th place. Very good stuff indeed. He's been improving right the way through the weekend. Number 22 has gone right off track. That is a disaster. Further down the field, well, what an absolute nightmare. All the way down there at turn 8, the number 22 has gone off of Alfonso Dakigan, 17 track limits warning in FP. Oh, and someone else has gone down in the background. Couldn't quite catch who it was. Was it Hu Tri, the Vietnamese rider? Yes, it was. So down and out goes Nguyen Hu Tri, and he is out at turn 9.
Yeah, turn 10 has been a real pinch point in terms of crashes across all classes so far this weekend, and it's caught out Hu Tri, unfortunately, on lap 1. We'll hopefully get a replay of what happened. Was he helped? Was it just a simple front end slide? Not sure. Hopefully he's all okay though.
Yes, and the marshals were running very, very quickly to get him back in the race if possible. Nelson Cairoli just dropping a position as well. There's confirmation that it is your number 18 of Hu Tri, who has found the gravel trap. Down across the line, lap 2 is underway. Ayatollah under pressure from Ikegami, who sweeps majestically around the outside. So Ikegami, your pole sitter, has just got back into P1 ahead of Ayatollah. So the Japanese rider doing the home crowd what they came to see, really, down towards turn 2, and Ikegami is going to try and come through as well. It's been these three really right the way through 2025. It's just whether or not Ayatollah is going to be able to stick with them over the course of this 13-lapper.
Yeah, we're about to find out, aren't we? Ikegami and Ogiwara, and they hit the front. Is Ogiwara going to make a move down into turn 5? He's alongside Ikegami, but I think he's going to think better of it.
Oh!
Out of shape on the brakes, late on the anchors, out of shape into turn 5, but keeps it on the straight and narrow. Just looking further back, Bumproy has made a decent start. He's up to P10, the rider, P3 in the overall standings. Up 4 places, you can see, on the left-hand side of your tower, but he's got work to do to try and get into this podium fight still.
He really does, and that's not going to be cutting the mustard up there in 10th place. He's going to have to come through at least into the top 5, and he's in this gaggle of riders. You can see Bumproy. Oh, who's gone down? Is that Matsuyama? Haruki Matsuyama has gone down, so P3 on the grid. Haruki Matsuyama, I hope that is he's crawled over there because he's depressed instead of he's injured, because that is a real shame for Haruki Matsuyama, looking to convert that front row start into another podium, and unfortunately that's going to have to wait until Sunday morning now, because Matsuyama is out.
Matsudaira then put in the classic. Yeah, it is that Matsuyama then crashing out at turn 8, just getting a replay of it here.
All on his own.
All on his own, a simple front end crash at turn 8. Not seen that too many times this weekend. Thankfully, he is up all on his feet and all okay. As the top 3 then threatened to break clear, and that is why the number 28, just behind of Matsudaira, was tapping the rear end of his bike, saying, "Stick behind me, boys. I can try and take you to this league group." I don't think, judging from past experience of watching the Asia Talent Cup and other Road to MotoGP programmes, they won't listen.
They won't listen at all. They are all out for their own glory. Across the line, Ikegami, fastest lap of the race at 2:02.521, just a few hundredths of a second quicker than Ryota Ogiwara. Badly Ayatollah there in 3rd place and still hanging right there, but it's a 2:02.9 for the Indonesian rider, so a little bit of work to do. In 4th place is Dakar, then it is Archie Schmidt and Davino Brittani. Well, we said he might not be in the podium battle, but he's moved his way up into the top 6. Matsudaira there in 7th ahead of Fleming. Bunpaway is now 9th, courtesy of Matsuyama checking out, and Sarthak Chavan of India rounds out the top 10. Rintara Tadaka, your wild card there in 11th ahead of Chitwirral Chat. Pratham Tong Mahendra. Min Jae completes the points. That's tight. That's Matsudaira trying to come back through on Davino Brittani. Trying being the word, accomplished not quite.
Yeah, this gaggle of riders then have just lost touch in the fight for trying to get into the podium place. Of course, Ayatollah is 1.2 seconds, well, just under a second, sorry, clear of Idaka in 4th place, and there's a bit of a gap back from Archie Schmidt to Brittani and this group of riders. You can see, though, already the top 2 Japanese riders, your clear 2 in 2025 are breaking clear, and I was going to mention this is going to be a crucial couple of laps in terms of seeing if they can keep pace with the top 2, that is Ayatollah in Idaka and Schmidt behind. But at this moment in time, it looks like these 2 riders, we're going to see at the end of this lap, of course, really have supreme pace here. Ayatollah already looking behind him and see in a face full of Idaka.
Down towards turn 11 then, of course, Ogiwara is not going to be worried about trying to get the pass done already. Idaka is on Ayatollah and gets that done down at turn 11. Nicely done, doesn't cost them too much time. Let's keep an eye on Idaka this time around, because maybe he's got a little bit of pace. Last time not so much, 2:03.1, but he has now been able to claw his way past badly Ayatollah. So it's Japanese riders 1, 2 and 3. The home crowd will be cheering if that's how it finishes in 10 laps time, because they come across the line now. And it is 10 laps. Oh! It's that bumper away. It is the Thai rider who's dropping down our timing monitor. So dropping down the timing monitor and dropping out of contention altogether. Bumper away, well, that is such a shame for him. P3 in the title standings, he's going to be very lucky to hold on to that at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, turn 14, catching up, bumper away. Unfortunately, we've seen plenty of riders run wide there across the weekend so far. Not too many crashes, though, so intrigued to see what happened to bumper away. But if there was any chance of bumper away getting back into this title fight, well, unfortunately, that is title hopes now gone unless something dramatic happens at the front. But these two are really showing a strong pace. The only riders in the 201s, to be fair to Idaka, include an overtake on Ayatollah, who was in the low to mid 202s. So this is going to be an interesting lap to see if Idaka can have the pace of these two, but they're already plenty clear, and he's got threat from behind from the number 13 still.
Yeah, Ayatollah having a look up the inside. That's at turn 7, but not this time around. This is up through turn 8. It's all uphill through there, and then it drops away back down towards turn 9. Good to see Nopa Prong bump away. He's on his feet. Let's have a look what happened. Does he do it on his own? Looks like he does. Oh, about the front door. Big old eyesight. Thankfully he's okay and he's out on the grass.
Yeah, exactly that. Thankfully, he is all okay. A nasty one on the exit, just probably trying to get a little bit too trigger happy on the throttle, trying to get a good run out of the final corner, and unfortunately, it did fold from underneath him. But good news that he is up on his feet, and hopefully he'll be all okay to go again tomorrow morning.
Plenty of battles throughout this ATC race, I've got to say. Ogiwara it is, who is trying to come to Nikigami but can't. Ayatollah is back ahead of Idaka. This one's going to run and run. Schmidt is there in 5th place. I think Tim Fleming has just got ahead of Kensai Matsudaira, but we'll have to check on that in a couple of moments' time. Ayatollah, yes, has done Schmidt indeed. I was worried there as we come through that final couple of corners. That's where Ayatollah is quite strong, but let's see if Idaka can get him back down towards turn 1. Ryota Ogiwara with the fastest lap of the race. That's the first time we're into the 201s. Ikegami was in the 201s with the 219, so the pace is definitely up at the front, and that is why we now have a gap of over 3 seconds between our battle for first and second and our battle for the last place on the podium.
Yeah, good lap time from Archie Schmidt in P5. His personal best lap of the race of 202.8. He was at least 3/10 and a little bit more clear of the two ahead of him, and you can see on your pictures now he is in that fight for the final podium spots, currently led by Idaka. A nice little battle between him and Indonesia's Ayatollah. But yes, Schmidt, the Australian, has joined the party in a big gap back. So there's a bit of breathing space in this podium fight, but a nice trio to keep an eye on as the top two just continue on their way, setting an unbelievable pace that no one is able to live with. The closest one, the 202.5 from Chip Wheelchat down in P12, but obviously down in P12 and 8 seconds off the lead. It's not going to be challenging for the lead or potentially the podium either. So the top two really in a class of their own at this moment in time.
I think that's Alfonsi Dakigan who did the 202.5. They are next to each other on the timing monitor, so I think you may have just misread the wrong row.
I need your glasses.
I need my glasses. You'll have to get in the line, mate. Dakigan, of course, is the rider who ran off right at the start of this one. That was over at turn 9, who went grass tracking. Good to see that he's worked his way back into the points. At the moment he's 12th, as you can see on the timing tower. It's still a long old race to go in this one. A good old 8 laps, 7.5 laps really, and this one feels like a bit of a stalemate at the front. Absolutely not so in the battle for third. 3 abreast, and again Ayatollah doing that great move. Archie Schmidt moving up from 5th to 4th and back from 3rd now into 5th. Idaka with work to do. So the podium fight, it really is a fight.
Certainly is. Intrigued to see what happens in this fight. It means a lot more than just this race. It's got big implications for the championship as well. The number 14 of Ikegami sets another fastest lap of the race of 201.610, and you'll be unsurprised to hear that just behind Ogiwara was pretty much setting the same lap time. 201.6s. This battle is in the 203s and a 204 from Idaka. So it is between the top two in the title fight to see who wins this race, and really it could be doing with Ikegami taking 5 points away from Ogiwara.
Tell you what, looking at Alfonsi Dakigan's pace, number 22, who's got his knee flapping there as he comes out the inside at turn 3. If he goes on at that kind of pace, he can be in this podium battle. So just keep an eye on the Filipino rider there. And the number 22 we're talking about, he's now up inside the top 10. Matsudaira has just got ahead of Fleming there, head-to-head, down towards turn 5. And it is Matsudaira, who we said he was wild, but he backed it in very well there indeed. Takes American nationality, but he is half Japanese, half South Korean, and he has worked his way up now into 6th place. This one's still going on as we hit half race distance. Pole sitter Ikegami, how many times have we seen this, Al? throughout 2025, leads a good chunk of this race, but as this wears on, you get the feeling Ogiwara is going to start to want to push through, particularly when we get to around 2/3 race distance. He just shadows him up towards turn 10, but isn't bothered about forcing a pass just yet.
No, and understandably so as well. They know now, judging from their pit boards, they'll get information, of course, from their team members, and also having a good look behind, they'll see lots of empty space, 5 seconds, over 5 seconds of it back to the podium fights. I thought Ogiwara was going to go for it there, but obviously getting slipstream down the hill, maybe just wanted to get out of that and just have a bit of clean air in the braking zone. This is going to go all the way down to the wire, I feel, but is Ogiwara just having a little bit in hand towards the end of the race, just working out where Ikegami is potentially stronger, where he's potentially weaker compared to the 14 as well?
Tell you what, he's riding pillion at the moment. He's absolutely pushing him along. 2:02.8 last time around for Ikegami. So Ikegami has already rolled out. That was 1.2 seconds slower than what they were doing a lap or so ago. 2:02.7 for Ogiwara. It's still quicker than this battle. Schmidt now has taken up the fight in P3. Ayatollah is 4th ahead of Hidaka. Side by side again down into turn 3, but nothing to worry about there. And Alphonse Dakigan is now up into the top 6, and he's only 4.3 seconds away from that podium battle. 4.3 seconds away. He's 1.2 seconds a lap quicker. He's going to catch them at the end of the race. Up the inside for the race lead. That is Ikegami. It's not. It's Ogiwara who moves through. Ikegami now yielding. I just wonder if Ikegami has slowed this down a little bit too much, and Ogiwara now maybe not absolutely sure of how much space they've got behind them, but just wants to up the ante a little bit more, maybe press the 14 into some kind of error.
Yeah, or Ikegami has slowed down and tried to allow Ogiwara to take the lead and say to his compatriot, hey mate, you just take the lead and I can shadow you for a little while and just work out potentially where the championship leader might be stronger as well. Potentially some tactics at play here between the top two. There is your live championship standings, 30 points coming into it. Another 5 points, of course, for Ogiwara's potential win. As things stand, would take it to 35 heading into race 2 tomorrow. But the next couple of laps will be interesting to see if Ogiwara has some pace in hand, or there's just a little bit of games at play between the two Japanese riders.
At the moment, Ogiwara looks comfortable, and so does Ikegami, to be fair. They're in second place. They'll just be taking this in their stride. When they come across the line, it will be 4 laps to go. So it's going to be very, very tense right the way until the end. We have seen this movie many, many times, and normally it has a pretty good ending on the last lap. It's been a bit box office between these two. But Ogiwara then leads across the line for the first time in this race ahead of Ikegami. Archie Schmidt is still there in 3rd place as they come across the line. Ayatollah was close, and so was Hidaka. We'll have to see how that one played out behind these two, who now have a 5.5 second lead over the battle for the remaining podium position. Behind them it is Alphonse Dakigan. Dakigan last time around 2:02.8, just 0.3 of a second quicker, but quicker nonetheless, so he's going in the right direction. Maybe Schmidt getting to the front of that group has just started to stretch them a little bit, just like we're seeing here. Ogiwara leading Ikegami down towards where he made that pass a lap ago, and at the moment Ogiwara, your clear leader. It's a slightly different picture further back though in P3, and that is Hidaka moving back into P4 just ahead of Ayatollah. So the paint swapping between the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup continues. Thankfully they're all on the same livery, Al. Exactly
that. Makes our life a little bit harder, but makes the paint job and repair job a little bit easier for the guys and girls back in the ATC tent. All 3 of those riders were quicker, incidentally, than the top 2 on the last lap. So clearly, these two are just messing around a little bit. All nice, all controlled so far, but they've dropped the pace by over 2 seconds, or around about 2 seconds. Anyway, is that Ikegami then making a move up at turn 10, returns the favours of the 14 ahead of the 16 once more after sitting behind Ogiwara for a lap or 2. But is he going to be shuffled back behind him on the run down to turn 11? He is.
I think he is indeed. So side by side down the hill and into the sunset as it is now at the Mobility Resort Motegi, down towards turn 11. This is a really tricky downhill off-camber left-hander. Not tricky if you're Ogiwara though. He retakes that race lead, so ahead of Ikegami. Ikegami probably just showing that he's not done just yet, and definitely isn't going to give this one the way of Ogiwara. They come through the victory corner, that's turn 14, and now it's onto the front straight. A little bit of slipstream perhaps, no. Ikegami electing just to go side by side with Ogiwara. Down across the line, just about 4 laps to go now. Lap 9 of 13. 5 laps to go, I beg your pardon, as they come down across the line through turns 1 and 2. Ogiwara it is who leads ahead of Ikegami, Schmidt, Idaka and Ayatollah as quick as that. And what about Dakigan last time around? Yep, still half a second quicker, so he is catching. So whether or not he's going to be there in time. Back through, that is for the race lead. Ikegami leads again. This is at turn 3 this time, but what's Ogiwara got down into turn 5?
We're about to see, they're in the 204s that time around, the top 2. I mean, if they don't be too silly about this, and if they're not too careful, they might get caught from behind. I don't think they're going to be able to catch the group behind to be catching the leaders, but if they continue at this pace, then it might get a little too close for comfort come the end of the race. They're just toying with each other at this moment in time, aren't they? But the pace has dropped 2.5 seconds plus, so I'm just wondering if they're just taking some time out, saving a bit of rear tyre and front tyre, of course. Big front tyre wear at this very hard braking zone here at the Mobility Resort Motegi, but yeah, they're just messing around a little bit, and they've just got to be a little bit careful. Might
be Ikegami's plan. He knows he's going to need a bit of help in this title fight. He might be slowing this one down on purpose. I tell you what, they were that slow last time around. Everyone inside the top 11 was quicker than him. In fact, everyone inside the top 13 was quicker than him, so the only one that wasn't was Kim Min-jae down in 14th, 204.8 versus 204 flat. So neck and neck again, down towards turn 11. It is going to be Ogiwara who resumes out front, the number 16, as Ayatollah comes back. This time it is on the 21 of Idaki. So Idaka so just goes back now into 5th place. So Archie Schmidt, this is a brilliant ride from the Australian up in P3, looking for his 2nd career podium.
Yeah, it would be the first of the season as well for the number 15, and he's looking pretty comfortable in 3rd place, isn't he, so far? Good job done from the number 15. What was the lap times that time around? I mean, 204.3 for the top 2, 202.8 for Schmidt and Ayatollah, a 203.1 for Idaka, and the gap now between the top 2 and the podium trio, chasing that podium, of course, is just over 3 seconds. So that gap is continuing to come down. It dropped by a second on that lap time. I mean, with 4 laps to go, I repeat, I don't think it's going to get that close, but they've just got to be careful here. 3 laps in a row now where they've really seriously dropped the pace, these two.
The gap is coming down and the lap times are dropping further. 204.3, that was 3/10 slower than what they were doing the previous lap around. They're doing about 3 seconds slower, just under 3 seconds slower than what they were doing about 5 laps ago. So the pace has absolutely tanked at the top. It's whether or not it's strategic or whether or not they're going into some kind of trouble, but I reckon it's the former. But now we've got Ogiwara out front. Let's see if it changes too much more. Ikegami made one of his comeback passes over at turn 10. He's lining him up in through turn 9 now, asking for the power. I've got to say, it is down now under 3 seconds, but I am still fairly sure this is going to be a 2-way fight for victory, although I have been wrong before.
Plenty of times, I must say. I do think, I would imagine with 3 laps to go, one of the two, whoever's leading, will pull the pin. I'm absolutely sure of it. The gap is now 2.8 seconds between the top 2, and Archie Schmidt at the lead of that second group. Is Ikegami going to pass down into turn 11? No, but with just over 3 laps to go, this is crunch time here in Motegi's race 1, and you do feel like that pace has got to drop at some point. They're capable of doing 201s and definitely 202s once a bit of tyre wear comes into play. Definitely not 204s. So next lap could be the crucial one. 16 leading the 14. That's how it is in the championship, and that's how it is with 3 laps to go here in Motegi.
Across the line this time around, 203.4, so they have dropped back into the 203 bracket. But I tell you what, Archie Schmidt's got a bit of a move on. He's half a second quicker than him again last time around. So this is not just quite over yet. I reckon Ikegami, who makes the pass, is going to try and slow him down. But we'll have to wait and see. The chasing pack was still quicker than those 2 leaders this last lap around. So keep an eye on the gap. We've got just over 2.5 laps to go. Just outside the top 5, Dakigan is still closing, but I don't think he's going to get there in the end. We'll have to wait and see, but I reckon it might be 6th at best now for Alphonse Dakigan. outside of the top 6. Matsudaira, Tadaka, Wirral, Chat and Fleming, your full top 10 as they come through turn 5 one more time, under the bridge and out the other side, and then it is climbing up the hill through turn 6, 7 and 8, and there is always an opportunity to pass. Badly Ayatollah wanting it but can't quite have it just yet. It's all about staying clean at this time of the race as well. You don't really want to be making too many desperate lunges at this stage of the race, unless you are Seryu Ikegami, who's got a title on the line to fight for. He gets underneath. Ryota Ogiwara, he tried it at turn 10 a few laps ago. He's done it at turn 9 this time. Side by side up towards turn 10, and it's Ikegami who has the high ground and has track position. P1 for your pole sitter, looking to try and stop the rot that Ogiwara has got on this title standing so far.
Battle at the front then has been lit by Ikegami. You can see there the gap is visibly smaller there. That is around about 1.3 seconds. That has come down a second in the third split alone as Ogiwara then retakes the lead down the hill into turn 11. Now then, top 2, if you take a look behind and look at your pit board, you're going to have a bit of a surprise because the chasing trio are rapidly closing with just over 2 laps to go. This is victory corner. When we cross the line, it's only 2 laps to go, and now this is race on, potentially for the top 5 to be in this victory fight.
This is very interesting. If I was Ikegami now, I'd be definitely trying to get to the front and slow this down a little bit more. Personal bests from the 3 behind them last time around. 2-2-2 from Badly Ayatollah. So Ayatollah is coming back right into this. This is a very strong ride from the number 13. He's just ahead of Archie Schmidt, and then it's Shingo Hidaka who completes the top 5, but it's Ogiwara who leads Ikegami down towards turn 3 and 4. The gap this time around, well, it is closing, but it looks like with 11.5 to go, it might just be a bridge too far, but it's kept us on our toes. Let's see what Ikegami's got on the run down towards turn 5. Will he let the brakes off on Ogiwara? No, he doesn't. Ogiwara, track position, your championship leader, remains your race leader.
Certainly does. 1.5 laps to go then. Turn 5 is potentially going to be a popular passing move for any of these top 5 to try and make a move on the last lap, but so is a few corners coming up. This is turn 7, the fast left-hander before you flick it through turn 8 of the S-curve, and then we get into the tight and tricky V corner at turn 9. Ikegami just shadowing his title rival Ogiwara for now. What is the gap to the chasers behind? It's dropped a couple of tenths on this lap to just over a second, and we are expecting a battle to rage at the front at any moment now, and that's going to cost them time, and that could bring the trio into play.
Isn't done just yet, is it? Maybe not. Well, what about this? The 2 Japanese who are leading this might be costing themselves a bit of home glory if they carry on like this. Let's see, 1.032, that's the gap between second and third. It's gone out just a little bit, but it's still a lot closer than really we imagined it would be. Down towards turn 11 for the penultimate time. No move from Ikegami this time around. He stays behind Ogiwara. It's all line and stern throughout the top 5. We go under the second bridge, out through the other side through this incredibly bumpy turn 12, into 13, flick it right into 14, victory corner, and we are just 4.8 kilometres away from seeing who will take victory here in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup race 1 across the line. Last lap time it is here at Motegi in race 1, and it's Ogiwara who leads them onto this final lap. Ikegami is second, third for Ayatollah, then it's Schmidt versus Hidaka for that 4th place, and Hidaka has got it at the moment. Down towards turn 3 though, is Ikegami close enough to try and launch a pass? Not this time.
No, not this time. I thought I saw Schmidt getting it just out of shape on the final corner. That cost him an exit run into turn 1, and that is why you see Hidaka, the Japanese rider, currently making it a Japanese 1-2-3, making his way up into P3 from P5 at the start of the final lap.
Yeah, Hidaka moving up into the podium positions. Has Ogiwara done enough on the brakes? Yes, he has this time around. Ogiwara still your race leader coming through turn 5. I've got to say, Ikegami, is he waiting for turn 8 or 9 now? Is he waiting for the 2 hairpins?
Potentially turn 11 he's waiting for, but he might not have to wait. He might have a chance. He's got a great run into turn 7 we go. What a move from Ikegami to take the lead with half a lap to go.
Brilliant move from the number 14. He knows the title needs to start swinging his way. They are side by side down into turn 9. Ogiwara gets it done and pulls it down fantastically well, but look how close this all is. These 2 start knocking spots off each other, and Shingo Hidaka is going to be laughing throughout this whole final couple of sectors because he's looking down at this. Maybe a podium. He might even take a victory. We're coming out of turn 10 now. This is the charge to home down the final back straight. This is Slipstream City. They all hug the white line. They're on the grass almost. Ogiwara ultra defensive. Can Ikagami find a way through? Ogiwara is very offline indeed. Has he cost himself a little bit of time there? The run under the bridge. Turn 12 is next. Ikagami can't quite get it done. This is up to the chicane. That isn't going to work, surely. What about that? Ikagami's going to get the run. He's going to get the run. He's going to come alongside Ogiwara. It's neck and neck to the line, but Ogiwara remains unbeaten. It's 7 in a row just from Ikagami, your pole sitter, threw everything he had at it. A thrilling end to Idemitsu Asian Talent Cup race 1, but Ryota Ogiwara, it's 7 on the spin. Ikagami second, Ayatollah comes home for third. Hidaka ended up 5th behind Schmidt. Alfonsi Dakigan 6th. Matsudara, fantastic debut in 7th. Chip Wiralchak comes out of the top 10 to come into the top 10 with 8th, ahead of fellow countryman Fleming. Davino Brittani completing a top 10, but what about that? Fantastic. You never see a move into the chicane, but I thought maybe Ikagami was going to pull it off, but in the end, Ryota Ogiwara just held on.
15 thousandths of a second, splitting the top 2 in the championship over the line.
The closest finish of the year.
There we go, understandably so as well. Locked together all race long, and I tell you what, we were expecting it to get a little bit closer towards the end of the race in terms of the chasing trio catching the top 2, but not by 0.2 of a second. I mean, Ikagami had to try it, didn't he? They both went defensive. Ikagami tried to find a way through down into turn 11, the last real overtaking opportunity here at Motegi on the final lap, and such was Ogiwara's defensive line. Didn't get a great one out of turn 11. Ikagami got on a better run, and he had to try something, and it very, very nearly worked out, but didn't quite through turn 13. Hopefully we get a replay of that final sector. It was a brilliant one. The 14 will be disappointed, of course, to finish second for the 7th time in a row, but fair play, he tried, but ultimately it didn't come out on top.
He can't try any harder. He's thrown out the inside, he's thrown out the outside, he's thrown it right through Ryota Ogiwara. He's even tried beating him on the run to the line. But the number 16, for the 7th time this season, comes out on top. An unbelievable achievement for Ryota Ogiwara. Fantastic stuff. The closest finish of the year, the whole podium covered by just over 0.2 of a second. The top 5 covered by less than half a second. The Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup, it's very much on the way, on the road to MotoGP. But the racing, it's absolutely electric. This is your race winner, Ogiwara, your championship leader. That's a vital 5-point swing in his favour. 35 points the difference now. Depending on what happens tomorrow, he may well have a match point going to Indonesia next time out in just about a week's time.
Yeah, he certainly will do. The perfect record so far. 3 seasons in now for Ogiwara, and this is the best we've seen, of course, from the number 16. And in terms of the championship, it means Ayatollah now moves into P3 after Bumproe suffered a DNF. 3 podiums in a row, 3 P3s in a row. So in the last 3 races, we've had the exact same podium finish. So the top 3 really starting to make their mark as Ogiwara just stalled that Honda. Unfortunately, he has, and these are notoriously difficult to get started again. So hopefully they can with the help of the marshals, but that's the first real mistake of the season so far. But you can make worse ones, can't you?
Exactly. That's well, thankfully for him, it does go downhill. So if he just carries his speed all the way, I think they've got it going.
Nope.
Have they? No, they haven't. The Japanese marshals, they're laughing. I tell you what, Ryota Ogiwara, it's the slowest he's been all season. That is for certain. They're going to keep on pushing him here. The marshals are going to be out of breath. They're going to be needed to go to the medical centre in a minute. There we go. It trundles into life. Thumbs up from your race winner and your championship leader. 35 points is his advantage. We're going to have a look at the Well, this was the first move. This is Ikegami coming up the inside of Ogiwara. What a brave move that is. Uphill, it's off camber up at turn 7, and it is leaving you vulnerable through turn 8 and 9, and that's exactly what happened. Ogiwara are able to get round him and just hold on. And all of this battling, you can imagine what Shingo Hidaka was thinking when he got through there in P3. But we should be able to have a look down into the final corner. El, talk us through it.
Yeah, this is turn 13. As I said, just got a fantastic run out and through the tunnel. Turn 12, you can't really make an overtake, but you've got to come up with something at turn 13 or turn 14, and the number 14 chose turn 13, but obviously taking the inside line, you're going to run a little bit wide into 14, and ultimately Ogiwara got the repass done, and I mean, that's about as close a finish as you could hope for. Ikegami unfortunately just losing out once again, but fair play. If he didn't try, then I think he and his friends and family and the team members watching on would have been a little bit disappointed, but you can't expect anything more. Fair play to Ogiwara for pouncing back when he needed to collect the 25 points, but that sets us up very nicely for tomorrow morning to another fantastic race here in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup.
And the Japanese fans that stayed around to watch that were treated to an absolute belter. It's just what has Seiryu Ikegami got to do to beat Ryota Ogiwara. He's going to need misfortune at this rate, because whatever Ryota Ogiwara seems to be able to do, it's on a different level to the opposition, and Ogiwara, that's exactly why he is your championship leader. Just to complete your point scoring finishers, good stuff from Rintaro Tadaka taking 11th place, and a very strong debut ride indeed, 5 points in the title race. Sartak Chavan 12th place ahead of Pratham Tong, Alvaro Mahendra and Kim Min-jae the final point ahead of Shaf Muriz. Besides that, a few crashes, Shiyu, Bunpaway, Matsuyama and Hu Tree not finishing the first lap, but all the way through, what an epic Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup first race of the weekend. We thought it had gone a little bit dull in the middle of all of that, but as always, it always comes back and delivers the goods. A few tears down there in Parc Ferme, I think, and yeah, that's it's gonna hurt a little bit to be denied victory, but it's coming for Ikegami.
Yeah, it certainly is, and not nice to see tears down there, but that's just how much it means. Of course, home turf for the top two, Ogiwara and Ikegami, and Ikegami would love nothing more to, first of all, win another race here in the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup, but of course, do it in front of his home fans.
It is a Japanese 1-2 for the 7th time this season, and it's the same riders in the same order once again, but that doesn't tell the full story. The closest finish of the season, 15 thousandths of a second, just when you think you've seen it all, the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup delivers the goods, this time at Motegi. Badly Ayatollah completing the podium ahead of Archie Schmidt and Shingo Hidaka. We've gone through all of your point scorers, but really a very, very interesting opening race. Must try harder tomorrow. Shaf Muriz and Nelson Cairoli and Adam Daniel, who complete the runners. They were just outside of the point scoring finishes today, but they'll be up for the fight and the challenge tomorrow when we go green for race 2. The championship, it is a perfect 175 points from Ryota Ogiwara ahead of Seiryu Ikegami. Now the gap is 35. Ayatollah is still in title contention with 5 races remaining, but he's going to need a miracle. He moves up into the bronze medal position anyway, ahead of Alfonsi Dakigan, whose first podium is still eluding him, but he's somehow 4th ahead of Bunpaway, who completes the top 5. Hidaka's 5th helps him to 6th ahead of Matsuyama, who fell, Fleming 8th, Schmidt 9th, Chitwell Chat completing your top 10. 25 point scorers now in this year's Asia Talent Cup. And it is now podium time, and well, will it be the only time we see the Japanese flag on the top step of the podium this weekend? I don't think so, and I'm not quite sure what has happened to the Indonesian flag. I think it's given up altogether, but the 2 Japanese flags are flying very high. Slight podium flag malfunction there, and now it's gone all together. Well, anyway, we know that this is an Indonesian rider in third place. It's Badli Ayatullah, and he's third place in the championship standings as well. I presume we're going to now have a short delay whilst they try and work out how to get the flag up on the flagpole, but we will just have to wait and see.
Yeah, sorry, Indonesia. You might have to wait until your home Grand Prix, or
Yeah.
at least tomorrow, to see the Indonesian flag flying high. That you can tell they're trying to get it going. It'll come eventually, I'm sure. It looks pretty breezy out there, to be fair. It's not been very breezy all weekend long, but you can see the shape of the flags flowing in the breeze, and it's Japan 1-2, which is good news for the home fans, and some of them have stuck around. And of course, tomorrow morning, 8:45 local time, we'll be going racing again. A nice way to kick off Grand Prix Sunday, a big Grand Prix Sunday here in Japan, of course. MotoGP. Potential title winner. There it is, the Indonesian flag. I can hear everyone over in Indonesia cheering away, seeing their flag raised high. And P3 on the podium, going the way of Ayatullah. 3 podiums, as I say, in a row now. That's good going and good form, depending on what happens tomorrow, heading into the home race of Ayatullah next weekend over in Lombok.
Tell you what, if he's able to conquer the 2 Japanese ahead of him, that will be very, very interesting stuff going to Mandalika next weekend. Of course, we do have another race coming up tomorrow, very, very early for us, even here in Japan. So if you're tuning in from somewhere in Europe, it's going to be mega early. Why go to sleep? Stay up. Get that fridge pulled in closer. Don't bother going on a night out on the tiles. Stay at home and make sure you've got a good supply for the entirety of your morning. We're going to have the podium handing out ceremony. That is your P3 to Badli Ayatullah, who has very much got himself right into the contention for P3 overall in the championship. Has an 8-point advantage over Alphonse Dakigan, but crucially has podiums to his name. Second for Seiryu Ikegami. So hard, so close, yet so far for Ikegami. Can the number 14 add to his Motegi victory from last year tomorrow and stop this rider, Ryota Ogiwara? He's making a habit of this. It's going to be another trophy for him to take home. Of course, we are now going to have the race winners' national anthem. It is the Japanese national anthem. And that is all from the Idemitsu Asia Talent Cup today here in Japan. That is our track action here in Japan at an end, but be sure to join us tomorrow. We are on air at 8:35 on a YouTube station near you. Elle, have you enjoyed Asia Talent Cup Race 1, and what can we expect for Race 2 tomorrow?
Absolutely enjoyed it, yeah. A bit of a weird one in the second half of the race, with the pace slowing up at the front as you're about to see the highlights, but I think we can see similar tomorrow in terms of the top 2, but it's all about whether Ikegami can beat Ogiwara.
8:35, join us for Asia Talent Cup Race 2, lights out at 8:45, and you'll be in the company of myself, Kiko Giles, and Elliot York next to me for more 13 laps of breathless Asia Talent Cup action. Can anyone stop Ryota Ogiwara, making it a rather great 8 in a row?